stranded by the seaside. Thousands of tourists and locals are being held hostage by raging wildfire in the town of Mallacoota. It's too late to leave, so all they can do is wait along the beach for help to come.
So we're back in the caravan park because the fire is along the beach now. And we can't get out of Bateman's Bay because all the highways are blocked. We are okay. We're actually sitting in the car because the southerlies picked up, and if you have a look outside, it is just smoke everywhere.
Others across the region have made the difficult decision to stay behind, but the authorities are clear they are now on their own.
We are aware, and as the Premier said, some people have chosen not to take that advice and remain in their homes in those isolated communities. We won't be putting trucks into those areas, but they were fully briefed and are fully aware before that fire impacted on that community.
Elsewhere in Melbourne, temperatures on Tuesday peaked at 41 degrees Celsius. In some places, the blazes are so intense, the thick smoke turned day to night. And aerial reconnaissance and water bombing had to be halted. The fires are causing dry lightning storms that themselves are starting fires.
When fires are creating their own weather and have super hot columns that go up to 13, 14, 15 kilometres in the air, it's not safe. Then there's obviously the very common sense issue of not being able to see so much smoke, so much impact in terms of moving around.
Australia has been battling huge bushfires for several months, mostly on the eastern coast. On Tuesday, almost 300 fires were registered, and the blazes have consumed more than 40,000 square kilometres of land.
And for more on those bushfires, I'm joined now by journalist Roger Maynard in Sydney. Roger, thanks for joining us. Thousands of Australians stranded on beaches to escape these fires. Do they have enough food and water? Are they getting any help at all?
Well, it's difficult to say the least. I think food supplies are going to have to be flown in and water supplies too, because these people are totally cut off at the moment. It's really been a horror day in Australia. Fires have raged right from East Gippsland up to the south coast of New South Wales. The fire line has stretched an estimated 500 kilometres. The day started ominously enough in Mallacoota, down in Victoria, a small country town which is inhabited by a lot of tourists at this time of year, in the middle of summer. They were woken at breakfast time by sirens sounding an alarm. People woke to a black sky, even at 8 o'clock in the morning. That sky eventually turned to a deep red, and as the bushfires headed towards town, 4,000 people fled to the beach to escape what they feared was going to be a fiery end. But fortunately, at the very last minute, the wind changed direction, and the town escaped the flames, although a few properties were destroyed in the process. But even so, those 4,000 people were cut off by the fires and still can't get out because the roads in and out of the town are closed by fires. So those people are totally stranded. It's hoped that they will be rescued either by army helicopters or by the Navy, but that could take some days to organise. 4 people are still missing in Victoria. There are grave fears for their safety. And as the winds picked up, the fire marched on to New South Wales, consuming dozens more properties in its path. And again, many people fled to the beach in the same way they'd done at Mallacoota for fear of being consumed by the flames. Now, people likened it to nothing short of Armageddon, as a wall of flame as high as 100 metres swept along the road. Seasoned firefighters said they'd seen nothing like it in their career. And
Roger,
then came the tragic news. More deaths.
Roger, if I can just ask you, I mean, the pictures we're seeing are devastating. Can you talk to me about how this is impacting the traditional New Year's Eve celebrations in Australia? Because, of course, there's been huge controversy about the ideas of celebrating with fireworks while homes are burning.
Well, that's quite right, too. I mean, the fireworks are definitely going ahead, but certainly in a very sombre mood. there are really mixed feelings about whether the fireworks should be held in the first place at a time of national crisis. Flags are flying at half-mast on the Sydney Harbour Bridge in honour of the firefighter who died yesterday, but the events of the past few days have clearly cast a very dark shadow over this firework celebration, which are being held in windy conditions and in an extremely subdued mood.
All right. Roger Maynard in Sydney, thank you so very much for bringing us up to date.
Thank you.